We'll go ahead and call tonight's regular city council meeting to order. And for tonight's invocation, I've asked Alderman Rob Heberlein to do the honors.
Would you pray with me, please? Father God in heaven, we first thank you for your presence with us this evening. We pray that as we go forward with the city's business that you will guide and direct us. And then tonight and continuing tomorrow, if you will be with all the citizens of this great town and with all the people that serve these citizens. We thank you for your Son. We thank you for your presence. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Sean Bertle. Here. Bernie Dorchenez.
Here.
Rob Heberlein. Here. Bruce Jones.
Here.
Ray Kuntz. Here. John Lawrence.
Here.
Martin Voda.
Here.
Earl Walters.
Here. All 8 aldermen present. First thing we have is a motion to utilize the omnibus vote for approval of the minutes of the previous meetings and public hearings listed on tonight's agenda under the title of the omnibus vote designation. Alderman Dorchenez and Alderman Jones. Roll call, please.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heberlein.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Kuntz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Okay, the minutes that we'll be approving will be the minutes of the Lake Airport Committee meeting held March 18th, 2013. Minutes of the public hearing held March 18th, 2013. Minutes of the regular meeting held March 18th, 2013. Minutes of the Cemetery Board of Managers meeting held March 19th, 2013. Minutes of the Ordinance Committee meeting held March 21st, 2013. Minutes of the Finance Committee meeting held March 21st, 2013. And minutes of the Street and Sewer Committee meeting held March 28th, 2013. So I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes. Okay.
Second.
Bertle, second by Alderman Heberlein. Discussion or comments? Alderman Voda.
Comments, Your Honor. Related to the council meeting on the 18th, which was the public hearing, I would like to have it noted in this evening's minutes of this meeting that there was a statement made that evening or question asked about the total cost of this project should it go through all the way. Mr. Green, I believe, stated it was going to be $1.5 million. I just want that as documented in the minutes of this evening's meeting so we can go back and look at what the proposed cost would be if that ever occurred. The other item I had was related to a note in the minutes of the city council meeting of March 18th, where we had talked about the police staffing. I just want to make mention that wasn't in the motion, but we did discuss the issue of the fact that if we did not receive the letter of resignation from the existing or retirement from the current officer, that the new hire would be notified that he would probably not be retained for the services. That was not in the motion, but we did discuss that rather in depth.
Right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Any other comments?
One.
Alderman Jones.
From the Finance Committee, under any other matters, we discussed moving the meeting date from April the 18th to April the 17th, which would be the Wednesday before the regularly scheduled meeting on Thursday, noting that there was nothing in the minutes. But just wanted to make sure that that was still okay with everyone as it was at that meeting.
Okay.
Just wanted to have the minutes amended to show that, and then the city clerk would have something to go by to set that meeting.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Hearing none, roll call.
Rob Heberlein.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Kuntz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Okay, before we get too much into the meeting here, I'd like to recognize the Taylorville wrestling team. Their head coach, Lee Mateer. Lee's been coach for 3 years now, from 2010 through this year. You know, in his first year, I mean, he's been very successful. The 2010-2011 season had 20 wins with only 3 losses. In the 2011-2012 year, he had 19 wins and only 2 losses. And they also, were conference champions then. No, I'm sorry, regional champions, second in the conference. And then 2012, 2020, this year, 23 wins, only 2 losses, conference champions, regional champions, first ever sectional title for the school, and they also qualified for the state tournament. So fantastic. I will point out that even though he's only 3 years into it, he's got a record of 62 wins, 7 losses, and if you do the math on that, that's a 91.1% winning percentage. That's pretty darn good. So. And the team itself had an impressive tournament record. At the Clinton tournament, they won first place there. They went to the Lincoln tournament and got 5th. Morton tournament, 2nd place, and Normal U High tournament, 2nd place there as well. And throughout the season, at the end of it, they ended up placing 8 wrestlers on the all CS8 team, including 2 more special mention on the special mention list, and 8 wrestlers named to the CS8 Wrestling All Academic team. So that's fantastic as well.
Impressive.
As far as the wrestlers themselves, I'm going to try and read the names here. If I butcher one of them, I know you guys can whip me, so please don't. Seniors, Kid Morrison. If you're here, just stand up, please. Nick Turner, Brock Letcher, Luke Ferrardi, Tyler Wells. Those are our seniors. Juniors, Nick Flannel, Hugh Marr, Jake Smothers, Jake Hamill, Aaron Herkert, Dalton Stokes, Kyle Tex, Blake Hooper, Sean Wilhauer, Joel Ashburn, Alden Brown, and Dylan France. That sounds familiar. Those are our juniors. Sophomores, Preston Lindsay, Luke Miller, David Kirkshank, Keen Rogers, and David Gideon. Those are sophomores. Freshmen, Austin Marburger, Austin Wells, Tyler Gist, Caleb Vaughn, Noah Mills. Be our freshmen. I would just like to say on behalf of the city of Taylorville, we want to extend our sincere congratulations to the team and the coaching staff on their success and thank them for representing Taylorville with the kind of class they've displayed all season long. To the seniors, we wish you continued success as you move on to your lives beyond high school. And to the other members, we ask that you keep working hard as you prepare for even greater things next year. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Your Honor.
Alderman Walters.
Thank you, Your Honor. I heard from someone tonight that Alderman Dorchenez was going to volunteer and have one of you fellows show some moves.
I'm taking on Blake Hooper.
Well, thanks again, guys. We appreciate it. Moving on. First thing we have is a resolution regarding the cabin cleaning services contract.
I'll go ahead and make that resolution as it came out of the, make that motion as it came out of the Lake and Airport Committee.
Okay. Second by Alderman Walters. Discussion or comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherling.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Next, we have a resolution committing local funds for the storm sewer sanitary sewer separation project from the East Main Cross Street.
Your Honor, I'd like to hold that until we have the street sewer committee minutes.
All right. So we'll do the same thing to the next ordinance, hold it for the ordinance committee, and do that for the water rates as well, Bruce?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll hold those two.
Well, that came out of the water committee. So.
Okay. Well, everyone hold all these ordinances for their meetings?
The water increase.
Okay. So you do hold it?
No.
Oh, go ahead and do that now?
Yes.
Okay, we have an ordinance amending section 84-9A2C1 of the city code addressing increasing the water rates for industrial users whose premises are located inside the city's corporate limits.
Make that motion, Your Honor.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Alderman Voda. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Ray Coontz?
Yes.
John Lawrence?
Yes.
Martin Voda?
Yes.
Earl Walters?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Rob Heatherling?
Yes.
Bruce Jones?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Next, we have an ordinance authorizing the sale of items of personal property owned by the city of Taylorville, these being some bent signposts.
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Alderman
Second.
Walters, second by Alderman Heberlin. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
John Lawrence?
Yes.
Martin Voda?
Yes.
Earl Walters?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Rob Heatherling?
Yes.
Bruce Jones?
Yes.
Ray Coontz?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Next, we have a motion regarding a letter of support for CEFS Economic Opportunity Corporation, this regarding a home buyer assistance program. Entertain a motion.
I'll make that
That-
motion, Your Honor.
Alderman
With comment.
Heberlin. Second by Solid?
Second.
Second by Alderman Lawrence. Go ahead with your comment, Alderman Heberlin.
This came up 2 weeks ago when I requested that, well, after you had told us that you'd received a letter asking for a letter of support, and I thought at that time it was a good idea for anyone wanting to put any kind of a project into Taylorville, or anyone asking for a letter of support, to come in and tell a committee what it is that they have in mind, and then for that committee to make a recommendation to the council. And I hope that in the future we kind of recognize and we implement something like this for all those programs and requests that come to you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Alderman Voda.
Just a comment regarding the, we've had some discussions regarding the Hathaway Homes development. This is a totally different project, different use of the funds. This will retain the actual real estate value of the properties. Therefore, the city will continue to receive the revenues associated with the value of the property. So I will support this due to that fact.
Alderman Bertle.
I'd have to agree with Alderman Heberling on this. The fact that we get a letter of support that the whole council either agrees on or disagrees on, to me carry moral weight than an individual giving a letter of support to anybody or any organization wanting to do a project in Taylorville. So I think it's something we need to do in the future if we can.
Sounds good. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Martin Voda?
Yes.
Earl Walters?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Rob Heatherling?
Yes.
Bruce Jones?
Yes.
Ray Coontz?
Yes.
John Lawrence?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Okay, next, I think we have a motion regarding a request to remove a sweet gum tree located at 310 Richmond Street.
Your Honor, those next two I'd like to
All those two?
Street and Sewer Committee minutes.
And the pump, okay, well, I guess that brings us to city attorney updates.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have very much to report on today, this evening. I am looking into the home at 803 Franklin, where the owner, who is Mr. Craig, wants to basically deed the property over to the city of Taylorville because he doesn't want to go to the cost of demolishing the same, which I certainly understand. One cog in the wheel, Clerk Peabody did provide me with an updated title commitment, and there is a recorded mortgage on the property. So obviously, we're not going to take title to the property there where there's a mortgage. Same story, but different person here. But I think that probably the mortgage has been released, but the prior lender just did not take steps to get that done. I'll be looking into that accordingly. It's my understanding that the Winslow indemnification agreement is going to committee, and we'll be addressing that, I assume, at the next meeting. I did review all of the updated title commitments that we received with regarding a portion of the new water annexation, mainly the property out by People's Bank and the property on Spresser Street. So hopefully we'll get that off the ground here in the very near future. Once we have we're waiting on some other title commitments so we can do everything at one time. At that point in time, I'm sure Clerk Peabody will be ordering plat of annexations, and we can notice those accordingly. That's all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
Questions for the city attorney? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to mayor updates. I don't have a lot myself. Last week, a little over a week ago, Taylorville and parts of Christian County received, depending on who you heard it from, 17.5 to 18.5 inches of snow. And I want to start off by applauding Dick Wiseman and his crew for the tremendous job they did in dealing with that. In fact, I also received a letter from Dr. Furstenau at the schools on behalf of the school district commending Dick and his crew for the job they did for them as well. So great job as usual, guys, and we appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, it was not just Dick and his guys. It was the lake department. It was the street department. It was the cemetery department. It was amazing It was George Calvert and his snow shovel. You know, Dave Spiegel, the water department. This group of guys that we got moved an incredible amount of snow in a very, very short amount of time.
Yeah.
And then I believe the warmer weather that you asked for was given to us by Mike Cruz,
Yes,
and
he
it's
did
all
tell me.
gone now.
Yeah.
So this has been a good week. It's shown what our people are capable of doing, and I for one am very, very proud of them. Very
Great.
proud.
Thank you. All right. Of course, next Tuesday is the election, and voters will be electing who will serve on the municipal, township, village, school boards, park districts, fire protection districts, school districts, everything. One of the big questions on there is the sales tax referendum for the schools, and the question states: shall a retailer's occupation tax and a service occupation tax, commonly referred to as a sales tax, be imposed in the county of Christian, Illinois, at a rate of 1%, to be used exclusively for school facility purposes? We're entering into a very tough time right now, and no one has a crystal ball, but based on what I'm seeing with the state and everything else, your average person, I think, in the future is going to see lots of increases coming in from different directions. So this is going to be tough for people, and I do, however, hope this is something they can support. If there's anything we should feel good about investing in, I believe it's our students and our youth. They are important, and if we're going to dig ourselves out of the hole that we've dug for ourselves, it's going to be them that help do it. And so I hope we can get behind this and support it. 20 years ago, the U.S. was first in the world in college attainment. Today, we're now ranked 16th. When we want to ask our same question about how our competitors are doing, a good example is China. In 1980, 3% of their population went to college. Today, that's well over 20%. So they're headed in the right direction. In 1973, only 28% of U.S. jobs required a college education. Today, that percentage is well over 60%. So it's a changing world we're in, and we have to be able to compete if this country's going to have a chance. So, if we're going to prosper economically here, even on a local level, we need an educated, skilled labor force, and we need our schools to get them started in that right direction to provide that for us. So. And people that disagree, I just argue that they need to vote. That's the frustrating thing. We all hear people complaining about how messed up things are, but yet we see the low turnout at the polls. If you don't like it, get mad enough where you actually get up and do something about it. Because I hear people say, it was that way 10 years ago, it's that way today, it'll probably be that way tomorrow. Well, I guarantee if you just sit on your butt, yes, it will. But we need to get people involved and try and turn this thing around a little bit. So I hope people will actually vote. That's all I've got, unless you guys have questions. If not, we'll move on to committee reports. Discussions and or motions to approve, adopt, and or deny, and or table, and or amend, or refer to an appropriate committee in whole or in part the following matters regarding the following subject matters discussed at the committee level. And first we have a Cemetery Board of Managers.
Thank you, Your Honor. There's only two motions that came out of that meeting. The first one was a motion to accept and refer the presented budget to the Finance Committee. I'm going to make that in the form of a motion with a comment.
Okay, can I get a second on that?
Second.
Alderman Heberlein, go ahead with your comment.
My comment is, I made this tonight at the meeting, and I think I made this comment at the Finance Committee meeting, that the cemetery's budget, if you look at the proposed budget for this coming year, the revenue versus expenses there's a difference of $8,934, which is a big swing from previous years. And Mr. Newberry gave the Board of Cemetery Managers a color graph here that shows the expenses and the revenues and the deficits for the last 3 years. And 2 years ago at this time, or in December, there were $184,000 in debt, or in deficit, and then last year was $161,000, and this year we're currently at $60,000. So it's been a pretty big swing from last year to this year, and if this budget holds true for the following year, it'll be even closer yet. So I want to give thanks out to Mr. Newberry and the Cemetery Board of Managers. It's a whole culmination of things, not replacing employees, watching spending, raising fee rates, raising lot rates. So they've done a fantastic job for the last 12 months, so I want to congratulate all them guys.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes.
Second motion was a motion to purchase a 740 lawn tractor from Sloan Implement in the amount of $6,488.10. $9,283.10 with a trade-in amount for 2007 740 lawn tractor of $27.95, with the money coming from this. The motion says perpetual care fund, but it should read perpetual care fund interest, since we can't spend funds out of
Okay.
perpetual care. So
All
I'll
right.
make that in form of motion.
Can we get a second on that?
Second.
Alderman Lawrence, discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherling.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Moving on to ordinance committee.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had one motion, that was a motion to direct the city attorney to amend ordinance number 3537, reducing the maximum fee to $50,000 for a qualified project. This has to do with the resolution that we'll be taking care of for the enterprise zone. I'll make that motion.
Okay, got a second on that?
Second, Your Honor.
Alderman Voda, discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherling.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Okay, I'd like to now bring forth the ordinance and an ordinance authorizing the amendment to the Taylorville Christian County Enterprise Zone Intergovernmental Cooperation Agreement with Christian County Amendment to ordinance number 3537, section 1. I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, second by Alderman Bertle, discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherling.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Thank you,
Motion
Mr. Mayor.
passes 8-0. All right, that brings us to Finance Committee.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Mr. Mayor. Two motions coming out of the Finance Committee. There's a motion to recommend the City Council to invite Mr. Bailey of Direct Energy to the next Finance Committee meeting to report new rates regarding the Direct Energy contract. I'd like to make that in the form of a motion with a comment.
Okay, got a second, somebody?
Second.
Alderman Jones, go ahead with your comment. Alderman Lawrence.
We've used Direct Energy for a number of years as far as the actual purchase cost of our electric, and the way the energy rates are floating, Mr. Bailey wants to pick the opportune time to get here and get us the very best bargain as far as what that's going to be in the future. He will be at the Finance Committee this month, and we need to basically get that on the way.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes.
And our second motion was to forward the fiscal year 2013-14 lake, airport, and cemetery budget to the city treasurer for further retirement. I'd make that motion.
Okay. Second by Alderman Voda. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. Brings us to Street and Sewer Committee.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to ask a procedural question. I'm very happy to read all those motions, but there's only about 6 of them that I really want to go through. But if you gentlemen and Your Honor want me to read all of them, I'd be more than happy to.
In other words, is making a motion to use the omnibus vote.
Okay. Is that what you
Well,
want to do?
but not for all of them, but yes.
It's either all
That's what I
or
mean,
not.
yeah, so-
Yeah, you know, you have to.
And
Right.
if I may, Your Honor, I'll be voting no because there is one issue that I do think needs to be discussed and brought to the table separately.
Thank you, gentlemen. I just wanted to, so that Alderman Dorchenez wouldn't get mad at me, I wanted to be sure I clarified that.
Well, I'm already mad at you. You already made those smart remarks earlier.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. The first was a motion to allow the Taylorville Area Arts Council to block off the northeast corner of the square on Saturday, June the 1st, 2013, from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. for the Art on the Square.
Second.
Second by Alderman Jones. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes.
Second, make a motion to approve the United Way of Christian County fundraiser to be held May the 3rd and 4th at the intersection of West Main Cross and Webster Street.
Second.
Second by Alderman Jones. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next, make a motion to approve the Sertomo Club's annual Candy Days to be held May the 10th and 11th at the intersection of West Main Cross and Webster Street.
Okay. Second by Alderman Bertle. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes.
Next motion I'll make is to approve the Taylorville High School Band Boosters request to solicit funds at the intersection of West Main Cross and Webster Street on June the 8th, 2013.
Second by Alderman Heberlin. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes.
The next one is the motion to approve the minutes of the March 19th tree board meeting.
Second.
Second by Alderman Bertle. Discussion or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes.
Then I want to come back to the motion on the first page of the council agenda. And on the tree board minutes, gentlemen, there was a motion that did not pass. It was 2-2 in regards to removing a sweet gum tree located at 310 Richmond Street. It was a request from Superintendent Wiseman due to the fact that the gum balls were going down in a northerly direction to the corner of the intersection and getting into the catch basin and clogging up the catch basin. So that failed. The tree board wanted to remove it, and it failed on 2-2. So I'm making a motion that we approve the request of Superintendent Wiseman to cut down the sweet gum tree at 310 Richmond Street.
Okay, can I get a second on?
If I might, Mr.
You want to second it first, or?
He cut down.
Yes,
That's what I said.
Okay, and you'll second that, Alderman Heberlin?
No.
The motion was to allow the request from Superintendent Wiseman to cut down the sweet gum tree at 310 Richmond Street.
Okay, that's the motion, so I need a second if we're going to have one. And we want to second that?
Second.
Second by Alderman Kuntz. Now, discussion, Alderman Bertle.
I think this missed wording, the tree board didn't approve, so we didn't have to tie 2-2, it was your committee, right?
Correct.
Right, yeah.
Correct.
The tree board made the recommendation, and it passed the tree board. It failed at my committee, that's why I said 2-2. It didn't pass at the committee, 2-2. You weren't there at that meeting that night.
Right, but what I was just trying to clarify is that the tree board recommended not to take it down.
That's exactly what I said, yeah,
Okay.
right.
Okay. All right, any discussion or comments? Alderman Heberlin.
I voted against that motion at committee the other night because I believed it was a tree board issue, and we had some discussion on sending this back to the tree board so that they could perhaps start to develop a policy on how to handle these gumball trees and what to do with them in the future. We had a case a year or so ago down on Virginia Avenue where we voted against removing a gumball tree. I thought that if we voted against it in that case, probably the circumstances down there wasn't any different than there was for this particular tree. I would like to see the tree board take this up, perhaps take a look at what Springfield's doing on their eradication program of sweet gum trees, and then bring that back to the Street and Sewer Committee for some further discussion.
Okay.
In response to that,
Alderman
Your Honor,
Walters.
the fact is that you gentlemen have allowed me to oversee almost $10 million of storm separation, the combined sewer separation here in town. And I've tried to live up to that obligation, and I think we've been reasonably successful. My point is very strongly the fact that we're spending all this money to take care of the storm sewer system, and we're going to allow gumballs to go down into the sewer system and clog up the storm sewers. I cannot allow that to happen. Now, yes, it can go back to the tree board, but ultimately it's going to come back to the Street and Sewer Committee, and I'm going to continue to recommend that we cut them down if the sweet gum balls are going into the storm sewers. Positively.
Alderman Heberlin.
All I'm asking for is something to be developed to where we are consistent on this. We cannot deny it in one neighborhood and then allow it in another neighborhood. In the one that I live on, there's one street in particular that just is lined with gumball trees, and they're a nuisance and they need to be cut down. But we can't just go in and start cutting these trees down if we don't have something planned to replace them with, because that will really change the how our neighborhoods look. We do need to take care of the problem, absolutely, but I just think we need to develop a plan so that we can be consistent across the board in all neighborhoods of the city.
And again, Your Honor, in response to that, if that goes back to the tree board does not have the budgetary process and the money on hand to replace every one of these sweet gum trees that are taken down on the boulevards of Taylorville. And to echo the comments of Alderman Bruce Jones, his thought was that, and I'm paraphrasing, so Alderman Jones, you can step in, he didn't think we needed to have any trees in the boulevard because they consistently cause problems. With the overhead wires, with the sidewalks, we have a number of areas in the city where the trees, not only gumball trees, but other trees, are uprooting the sidewalk, causing cracks in them, and upheavals in the sidewalk for safety reasons.
Okay.
So, yes, it can go back to the tree board, but if we take these sweet gum trees down, where's the money coming from? The city budget doesn't have it to replace these trees. The tree board doesn't have it, so what are we going to do, gentlemen?
Well, it sounds to me, like from what I'm hearing right now, so we need to go ahead and probably vote on this, and if it goes down, then probably it does need to go to a committee, whether it be the tree board or a committee for further discussion. So we can, again, because I think that is a good point. I mean, you have to have a plan. You can't just go cut them down and not put anything back.
Well,
We wouldn't be a tree city, as we boast ourselves to be.
If I might, one
Yeah.
more comment. I think that, again, we just need to be consistent. We can't deny the removal of a tree on one piece of property and then allow it on another. If it's a nuisance on this particular piece of property, it probably was a nuisance over there. I'm just asking for consistency, that's all. And if you get down to where's the money coming from, I mean, I'm not quite sure if the city's got all the money in the world to start taking down all of these gumball trees. So I think that issue goes both ways. Thank you.
And Your Honor, in response to that, yes, our city crews can take down those trees as they get the time with the various projects they have, and they can use Alderman Dorson as a stump grinder to take the stumps out.
Alderman Voda.
I was just curious as to, did Mr. Wiseman bring this to the table, or did somebody request it through Mr. Wiseman? And if it's something that Superintendent Wiseman is asking for, he's got a genuine concern about what's happening to that sewer at that point, that maybe on this one, we need to go ahead and move forward and allow this to be taken care of, and then any future need to go through the superintendent, back to the street and sewer, and to the tree committee before we make a decision. But if this is something that is a critical issue with the current sewer, and it's a new sewer that we put in there, I would suggest maybe we consider the fact we get this one taken down and look at the procedure like Mr. Heberling's talking about, and get something in place that gives us directive as we move forward.
Mr. Wiseman, I'll put you on the spot here. Is this something that needs to be addressed immediately because of this particular location, or is this just something in general?
The gentleman come to me and asked to have the tree taken down because he's been fighting the gumballs, and it does get into the sewer out there.
Okay. But there's no more urgency than someone else coming forward?
No more urgency than anything else.
Okay. Alderman Bertle.
This is unrelated to this particular tree, but the thought of eradicating all trees on city property doesn't sit well with me. I mean, I think that trees in themselves lend beauty to the community. And the fact that they have leaves lends themselves to make a mess, and that's in the sewer, and, you know, I know Dick's getting a new Vector truck. I'm hoping they can suck more leaves out of the catch basin than the old one did, but I don't know. But nonetheless, I would hate to see that we just start chopping down trees because they're a nuisance, because they're all nuisance. I got 3 big ones in my yard, and they drop a lot of leaves. A lot of them go in the storm sewers, but, you know, just the fact that they're dropping leaves or gumballs, or I know we had a lady down on Prairie Street that had an acorn tree. She got denied. It made a huge mess, but it was a beautiful tree. You know, it's one of the things we just got to deal with, I guess.
And one final comment, Your Honor.
Alderman Walters.
We have to convey to the tree board that when it's brought to our attention as aldermen in the various wards of the city that there's a safety hazard out in the front of the residence because of a tree on the boulevard that's causing the sidewalk to uproot, we have to overrule the tree board and take that tree down and correct that sidewalk.
Again, you know, we could discuss it for an hour. We don't need to. Again, I think we need to vote up and down on this question, and then, you know, if we need to discuss it at the committee, that's where we should do it. We shouldn't have committee meetings here. Alderman Jones.
Just one thing. Alderman Walters did echo my sentiments. I didn't say eradicate every tree from every boulevard. For God's sakes, I did not say that. What I said was when these trees are taken off of the boulevard, they should not be replaced. They should be placed in the owner's yard 10 feet away from any sidewalk and 10 feet away from any utilities. So therefore, they don't cause any problem with the landowners, water, the sewer, or the sidewalk. So boulevards are beautiful just the way they are. I'm not saying we need to start cutting trees. I like my trees, and I hated losing the one that I had on the boulevard.
Okay. We've got a motion by Alderman Walters, second by Alderman Kuntz. Let's do a roll call.
Rob Heatherling.
No.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
No.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
No.
Bernie Dorchenez.
No.
Okay, 4-4.
2 weeks in a row.
I'll say no, because I think we need to have more talk about this at a committee, so. All right. Moving on.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for that lively debate. The next motion is to make a motion to direct the street department to remove the tree in front of the police department entrance on West Vine Street.
Okay, got the motion by Alderman Walters. Can I get a second on that one?
I'll make a comment on that.
Let's get a second by somebody.
Second.
Alderman Haverly, go ahead with your comment. Alderman
Thank you,
Walters.
Your Honor. This was a project that was brought to my attention through the police department. They have plans that they'd like to fulfill in a timely manner, depending on the funding from their budget, to put some type of a memorial out there similar to what the fire department has for the firefighters, and this would be for the police officers, and I think it merits that. And they'd like to fix that up with some kind of a monumental plaque and maybe some shrubs or something like that, and possibly also a light that would light up this plaque for this monument.
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Haverly.
And also during the discussion on this, I'm not quite sure if the tree is half dead or half alive.
It's halfway, yeah. Any other comments?
And this is also a tree that our street department can take down and get rid of and use the stump grinder to take the stump out.
All right. All
I
right.
got that stump grinder.
All those in favor?
All right.
Against? Motion passes.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. The next was a motion to allow the tree board to draw plans for landscape in front of the municipal building, and I'll make that in the form of a motion with a comment.
Okay. Do a second on that?
I'll second that.
Second by Alderman Bertle. Go ahead with your comment,
My
Alderman
comment,
Walters.
Your Honor, this started last year when we had to take that one tree out on the east corner of the lawn out there in front of the municipal building. And the clerk's office and the treasurer's office and the mayor's office had talked about trying to do something that we could improve the looks of the municipal building. And also, we had the street department work in putting in new concrete out in front. This is the seat of government for the city of Taylorville, and needs to look nice. So I've talked with Rhonda Kraft to come up with some type of a low budget, not a lot of money, to fix up the front of the municipal building and the side with some types of shrubs and so forth. And she will be presenting a plan to us that we can work with. If this passes, we will buy all the material first that we can inside the city limits of Taylorville. If we can't find what she's recommending or a substitute for it, then we'll have to go outside the city. But we'll do our best to buy all the materials. Plans are, I'm talking to some of the various superintendents, we will use the summer help to plant the products and do the improvements out there. So we will not have to pay any outside people, landscapers and so forth, to come in to do this project. We feel that these young men are strong enough that they can do this, and with some supervision. And I think it'll greatly enhance the looks of the municipal building when you walk into it.
Question.
Yeah, Alderman Voda.
Just out of curiosity, and I apologize for not being at your meeting, was there a limit on the amount of financing we would be obligating to this project? I mean, such as a not to exceed?
No, because we didn't know what she was gonna present and what the cost would be, that then we can go back with her and say, we don't want this $500 one, we'd like to go down to 200 or whatever. So
Okay.
we didn't have anything. It'll come back to committee.
Thank you.
Alderman Kuntz.
Thank you, Your Honor. Originally, I was looking at this through my committee as well, and I did some pricing here and there around the city on some of the ideas that I've had, and I will through all the Walters, get a hold of Ms. Kraft as well. And to me, unless she goes, crazy with stuff, from what I've gathered, from what the pricing I've got, it's some of the things I want to do would be less than $200 for a nice project. I mean, it's not going to be this huge amount of money. I don't anticipate.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes.
The next item is make a motion to accept the quote from Waste Management for a 2-year period, FY 2013-14 and FY 2014-2015 for trash hauling.
Second.
Second by Alderman Heberlin. Discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
Yes.
John Lawrence?
Yes.
Martin Voda?
Yes.
Earl Walters?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Lee Dorchenez?
Yes.
Rob Heatherling?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you, Your Honor. The next motion I'll make is the motion to direct the city attorney to prepare an ordinance amending section 8-2-5B of the city code regarding the pruning of branches to not obstruct the light from the street lamps or obstruct the view of any street intersection, so that there shall be a clear space of 8 feet above the surface of the street or the sidewalk to read 14 feet above the surface of the street or sidewalk, and to remove the words corner clearance from the heading of 8-2-5B.
Okay, got that by Alderman Walters. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Kuntz. Discussion or comments? Awful quiet. Roll call.
Ray Coons?
Yes.
John Lawrence?
Yes.
Martin Voda?
No.
Earl Walters?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Rob Heatherling?
No.
Bruce Jones?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-2.
Thank you, Your Honor. The next motion I'll make is to accept the quote from Phil Tullis Excavating for equipment, labor, and insurance and traffic control to remove and replace the existing catch basin on Park Street just west of the viaduct at a cost not to exceed $3,500. I'll make that with a motion and a comment, Your Honor.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Alderman Heberlin. Go ahead with your comment, Alderman
All right,
Walters.
Your Honor, this is the viaduct going out east of town, and it's on the north side of the street, on the west side of the viaduct. We've done some investigation down there and found that we have two catch basins down there. We looked at those. We found out that years ago, one of them was repaired by driving 2 fence posts down by the side of it to try to hold it in place. And we also have some damage to the pipe going in there. We feel that we need to get this corrected. Now, the reason we don't want to use our crews to do this, it would take all of our people down there because we have to have flaggers, and because it'll be one-lane traffic while we have the contractor down there to replace this and fix this properly. We think this will help improve some of the flow of the water underneath that viaduct. It won't correct all of it, gentlemen. I'm not going to tell you that, but it should help. And there's a secondary one down there, just a little east of this one that we're going to repair, that we're also going to look at the same time and see if we need to clean out that line also.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, roll call.
John Lawrence?
Yes.
Martin Voda?
Yes.
Earl Walters?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Rob Heatherling?
Yes.
Bruce Jones?
Yes.
Ray Coons?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
All right, the next motion, Your Honor, is make a motion to approve the resolution for the Illinois Community Development Assistance Program, CDAP, for the storm sewer/sanitary sewer separation project, East Main Cross Street improvement.
Okay. Get a second on that.
Second.
Alderman Heberlin. Discussion or comment?
Discussion.
Alderman Voda.
Reading through the proposed resolution, where it states commit funds from, do we have an idea where these funds are being
Yes,
taken from?
positively I do.
And if you could inform me of that, I appreciate it.
Sure.
Alderman Walters, go ahead.
That would be from the sewer fund, and the money that would come from the sewer fund would be from the money that we're receiving from the Taylorville Memorial Hospital because of the storm sewer project.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Walters. The other question I have, and I've made this statement previously also, we are pursuing potentially a major project. Should we receive all these grants as we pursue this? My question is, should we get the grant that's going to be the construction grant of $450,000, we get the full amount? The amount of that project is going to be substantially above $1.5 million from what Mr. Green stated the other evening. My concern is where's the other funding coming from to complete a project such as this when we have so many other projects, and I mean major projects that are on the horizon right now that we're going to have to come up with funding for. I don't know if we have an answer for that. I'm not asking for an answer. I just want everybody to be aware of that. If my main concern with this, I will be voting no as I have been throughout this whole process, due to the fact that I very much think we need to make sure we are pursuing this water treating facility first, that it's going to be a mandate down the road, and that we are going to have to get this $22 million plus somewhere earmarked for that project. And before I can commit to another large project that we're going to be borrowing money against, I would like to make sure we have the needs taken care of before we have this as a priority. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Alderman Lawrence first.
You know, I've been against this project since inception, and it all is backed up from my trouble with finding some money for our northeast sewer. I will be voting no. If you look at the estimated cost, That sewer is going to run from the square to Walnut Street, which is about a mile. It's going to go down Pawpaw Street to Dairy Lane for another quarter of a mile. That has got to be with the interference with the neighborhood and the streets and curbing and all that type of stuff. It's got to be a $4.5 million project. If we can get only matching funds of 25%, that leaves from $800,000 to $1 million of money that's got to come out of our sewer project fund, and we don't have that money. And we've got to have a priority for the northeast shore. I mean, the whole east end of town don't have any sewers. They don't have good service for the presidents of sewer customers, and they don't have any possibility of getting sewers for any new thing. How they want to know?
I can address those issues.
Alderman Kuntz first.
Gentlemen.
Thank you, Your Honor. As I said previously, I echo sentiments of my fellow aldermen. I am not opposed to the project itself. I think it's a good plan, it's a good project, but I do not think it's top of my priority list right now to be voting for it, and I'll be voting no as well.
Thank
Alderman
you, Your Honor.
Walters.
I might not have the answers to the questions that were raised in the proper order, but the first thing that I want to bring all you gentlemen attention to is the fact that all of those sewers in the northeast of town, section of town, are not all Taylorville city sewers. The TSD has some responsibility here, but they're not participating in it. The TSD has some sewers up there that they need to do some work with. So we want to be sure that we understand that also. It's not all our fault. Also, a lot of the sewers run down to the first flush system down at the cemetery. That belongs to the TSD. It's their responsibility to fix that, not the city of Taylorville's. So they play a part in this also. As I mentioned at the Street and Sewer Committee meeting, we have to look at these projects not only in the priority but also in the funding capability. We will have the funding to do this project here, but we do not have the funding for $3.1 million to run a sanitary sewer from the Chevrolet dealership to the edge of the property for the industrial park. For goodness sake, guys, I wish we did, but we don't have that. Then that still wouldn't solve the problem for the industrial park, because it'll take another $1 to $2 million or so forth inside their property to put the infrastructure in there. And we keep hearing that the parties that be want the city of Taylorville to come up with all that funding. Gentlemen, we cannot come up with all that funding. We could come up with some part of it, but we have to have some participants in this that's willing to get in their pockets and put some money into it so that we can accomplish this. Yes, we've talked about it for a long time, but the talk keeps coming back, let the city of Taylorville fund it. Gentlemen, we cannot fund this entire project, but we can fund what will take care of a lot of storm sewer water in the southeast end of town that will help all the area south of Casey's down to Main Street, and south of Main Street down to Franklin and Adams. This will solve a lot of the water. It won't solve all of it, because as the chairman of the Finance Committee will remember, some meetings back I came to your committee and discussed all my projects, and at that time I said I'd like to have another $10 million and I could finish the rest of the city of Taylorville. And the response from the committee was, that's not going to happen. So I'm trying to stretch the dollars out as far as I can to take care of the problems for the citizens of Taylorville with the combined sewer separation. And I think we're doing a pretty good job so far, and this is one more leg in that. Also, we need to do this because our water superintendent would like to run a new water main down Main Street, and we'd like to also eventually, at some point in time, when we get the money in the next few years, to improve Main Street as one of the main entrances to this fine city of Taylorville. That means curbs, gutters, sidewalks, new street surface, and also that encompasses the storm sewer that I'm talking about, and it also encompasses the water main that Superintendent Spiegel's talking about, and also working with the railroad for a new crossing there at East Main Cross. So that's where we're at, gentlemen. Be happy to debate it with you.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Lawrence.
just one more comment. I'm sorry, Mr. Walters, I respect everything you said. Just the other night, Alderman Dorchenez said that he had a problem with these Waco Street residents. I could bend on a policy to take care of those people who have been complaining forever and put that into a priority similar to the Northeast Shore. But we've got to have a Northeast Shore.
And again, Your Honor, if I may respond to that, we have started on that problem as of today to solve Alderman Dorchenez's problem on Waco Street. We have a crew down there working on it, and we will have that resolved within the next 2 weeks. We're going to TV that entire line, and after we TV it, we will get in there and grind out the debris and the junk and whatever's in it, the roots. And then we also will clean out all of the catch basins along that. That'll buy us some time. We also have the plans already in place to go ahead and tear up that street and separate that combined sewer and take that storm sewer out to Cheney Street. And we're waiting for the school district to give the okay. We want to put our storm sewer on the school district's property instead of in the street on Cheney Street, and then tie that in and take care of that flow down there. So we've talked with Mr. Darchnez today, the street superintendent and myself, and he's also talked to the people down there, and we are doing that right now as of today.
All right, somehow we got Waco into this, and it's not even, not even in this here. So we have a motion to approve the resolution for the Illinois Community Development Assistance Program, CDAP, for the Storm Sewer Sanitary Sewer Separation Project, East Main Cross Street Improvement. Motion by Alderman Walters, second by Alderman Heberlin. Let's do a roll call.
Martin Voda.
No.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Bob Heberlin.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
No.
John Lawrence.
No.
Motion passes 5-3.
Thank you, Your Honor. And we'll go ahead to the resolution then on the first page of the council agenda. Make a motion to accept the resolution committing local funds for storm sewer sanitary sewer separation project East Main Cross Street.
Okay, get a second on that?
Second.
And the comment is
Heberlin?
still in the blank with where the money's coming from.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Bob Heberlin.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coontz.
No.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
No.
Motion passes 6-2.
Thank you, Your Honor. The last motion was to forward, the motion to forward the street, sewer, garbage, and M&T budget to the Finance Committee with the addition of $50,000 to the garbage budget for demolition fund. And I'll make a comment on that.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Alderman Heberlin. Go ahead with your comment.
The comment on that was the discussion I had with the mayor after a discussion with HBO officer George Calvert and also street superintendent Dick Wiseman. We're having an increasing number of requests for having the capability of tearing down some of these old properties in town. We know we can't tear them all down, but we're working with the homeowners to try to get those properties given to us if we can. But the mayor and myself thought that we ought to have a little bit of extra money in that budget just in case that we do come across something that we need to spend some funds on. And our biggest cost there of these projects, they can be taken down by our respective departments. The cost would be taken into the landfill. And we're, Superintendent Wiseman is working with the landfill now to see if we can get some better rates and prices on taking care of those types of projects throughout the city of Taylorville.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. Okay,
Oh, excuse
lastly,
me, Mr. Mayor. Did we
Alderman
cover
Jones.
the prison pump repair or purchase?
No, I think you're right.
I'm sorry, I went right over that one.
Front page.
Front door. No wonder I missed it. No, it's not the front page. Oh, yeah.
It was one that was skipped.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Motion to repair a prison pump for $4,235 or buy a new one for $8,500. This came through the street committee minutes, and we get that out, gentlemen, for you. And that motion failed 2-2. Let me give you some background on that, and I'll tell you what my thoughts are, and we'll go from there, Your Honor. The prison pump repair or purchase new. Pumps are sent out every 6 months for the lift station to be cleaned and repaired. We have a contract for doing that. Since the estimate for repair of $4,235 is approximately half of a new $8,500, Superintendent Wiseman asking the committee their feelings. He recommends the rebuilding, stating the pump may work another few years after repair. A motion by Alderman Coontz and second by Alderman Dorchenez to recommend City Council to direct Superintendent Wiseman to purchase a prison pump at a cost of $8,500. That motion failed 2-2. We want to repair the old pump. We figure it'll last us another 2 to 3, maybe longer. In repairing that pump, it's like rebuilding what we used to do on cars, and Alderman Dorchenez also talked about cars that evening. We're going to have all new guts on the inside of it except the shell itself. And we couldn't see spending $8,500 for that when we can spend $4,235 and get something that we think is going to last us another 2 to 3 years, possibly 5 at the longest, but we can't guarantee that. So my motion is to to approve the request of Superintendent Wiseman to repair that pump at $4,235.
Okay, we have that motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Heberlin.
Comment.
Alderman Jones.
Comment and question. I work on these types of pumps all the time. Is the volute okay? If the volute's okay and we put new impeller and shaft and bearings in there,
Seals.
it's the same thing as having a new pump.
Thank you.
I work on these all the time. As long as people keep lubrication in them, they'll last for a long time.
Alderman Dorchenez.
Well, I like the economics of spending $4,000 instead of $8,000. I like that part of it. The problem I have is is when you're mixing old parts with new parts, then oftentimes, from my experience, my life experiences, is that it doesn't work out so well. And so for another $4,000, you got a brand new pump. You got a new pump warranty, and I think it'd be more prudent than spending half the. If you're spending half the money to repair something as to get a new one. For example, I know a lot about washing machines, and if you're going to spend half the price of a new one on a new transmission, you still got an old washing machine with some new parts, and oftentimes that doesn't jive. Okay, so I'm not willing to risk $4,000 on putting new parts with old parts. I think it'd be more prudent to spend the money. Although I like the economics of 4,000 as opposed to 8,000, but I think it's the prudent thing to do be spend 8,000.
Any other comments? Alderman Voda.
If I was working on a washing machine, I would go ahead and ask Mr. Dorchenez his thoughts, since he does have a background and understands that, and I respect that. I know where you're coming from there. However, Mr. Wiseman is the man who knows this pump. He came with a recommendation to repair as opposed to purchase, knowing that the casting of the pump is in good shape, that when we rebuild this pump, I'm sure all the seals get changed, the impeller gets changed, it's a whole new unit except for the outside. That's kind of like taking an engine in a car, throwing it in the garbage, put a new one in, you still have the same outside, the skin's still there, still looks good, but you got a new machine inside. Again, he has the knowledge on this, I have to go with his recommendation. Mr. Jones, I know has the knowledge on this, he knows what's going on, I have to respect his knowledge. If it was a washing machine, I definitely respect your knowledge, and nothing against what you're stating. I agree. Normally, that's the way we would go, but in this case, I would focus on the recommendation of the superintendent.
Alderman Dorchenez.
Mr. Jones, have you ever had one of these rebuilt that ever failed?
Eventually, all mechanical things will fail, but when you put new parts into a good housing, it's the same thing as getting a new housing off of the assembly line and bringing it in. If there's nothing wrong with the housing, you can put those parts in a new one or an old one, and the pump has the same chance of lasting just as long as it does with a new pump. One more question.
Alderman Voda.
And I don't intend to put this gentleman on the spot, but Mr. Spiegel, we've run into the same situation in the water treating facilities. What do you usually do?
For half the cost, cast iron blue. If the bearing hubs in the blue are fine, I'd rebuild it.
Thank you.
It's heavy cast iron. The
They're putting
equivalent would
new
be,
bearings in. They're putting new bearings in.
yeah, 'cause all you gotta do is where the bearing hubs go in the you got the volute, and you check the bearing hubs where they sit. If they're fine, they're thick cast iron, they last forever. So.
Thank you. I appreciate your input.
Alderman Koontz.
I respect Mr. Dorchenez's opinion. I did vote yes during committee for the same reasons. Basically, just because, like he said, it's half the cost of a new one. That's what most people do is go ahead and buy a new one. But listening to Alderman Jones and everybody else, I'm comfortable either way. It's not if the majority want to go ahead with the rebuild, I'm fine with that. I can go ahead and vote yes on that.
Well, let's take a roll call and find out. Let's see. Roll call, please.
Sean Bertle.
Can you read the motion back to me?
Thank you.
The motion is to repair the prison pump.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
No.
Rob Heberlin.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coons.
Yes.
John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
With all due respect to Mr. Dorchenez, yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-1.
Mr. Mayor, just one comment. I did have Mr. Dorchenez come down and fix a dryer of mine one time, and he charged me $50 for the parts and labor. 10 years later, I sold that dryer for $50. So
Heck of a deal.
he does good work when he works.
This is a lot of fun, guys, but let's keep moving, okay?
Your Honor, I'd like to thank the committee for putting up with me on the reading of these minutes and motions.
Well, next we have a motion to approve and or ratify payment of bills in the amount of $229,609.33.
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Okay, second by Alderman Bertle.
With comment?
Go ahead, Alderman Lawrence.
Relatively small batch of bills for the first cycle in April. Total for the month as listed is $229,609,000. Biggest part of that comes from our monthly insurance. We have bills for the employees' medical, dental, group, life, vision, spread throughout all the departments, $108,224. And then we have our monthly workman's comp bill of $23,387 for a total of about $131,500 on insurance. We've only got a couple of bigger bills on the sewer department. Van Deventer Engineering is working on the lift stations for $16,000, and Green and Bradford, our city engineers, are working on the Lakeshore Drive bridge replacement, $13,318. They're about done with their $191,000 contract, and 95% of that gets reimbursed anyways. So that totals $161,000, and leaves 68.6 as the routine budget.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Ray Coons. John Lawrence.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters. John Bertle.
Motion passes 8-0. Next, per Public Act 96-1473, this portion of the City Council meeting is reserved for any city resident wishing to address the council on issues that are relevant to the council. Would anyone like to address the council? Seeing no one, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Your Honor,
Alderman Lawrence.
may I interrupt?
Yeah.
I'm not sure where we stand on our Finance and Ordinance Committee change. Is correcting the minutes of our Finance Committee, making that meeting the 17th?
Well, I think that's the intent.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, I think all it was highlighting that discussion is what we did.
It's my understanding we need approval of the City Council to have that meeting moved up, and we don't have a meeting.
No,
No.
man, we
It
don't
was
need.
under any other matters. Well,
Okay.
you're supposed to take a motion to change any meetings that, when you're scheduled, regularly scheduled.
Regular schedule meeting.
And that was under any other matter, so a motion hadn't been made.
Okay.
And,
But we're good
but
now,
it-
right?
Well, it wasn't put on the city council agenda either, but,
Okay.
so I recommended to Mr. Lawrence that he at least bring it up to say when it was gonna be, so that he's announcing it tonight that there's gonna be a change.
Change
I don't know if that's enough or not.
to the 17th.
As long as the press gets
That's it.
notice of it.
And they'll get an agenda.
We'll send them a
48
notice and
hours in
agenda.
advance, so.
Okay. All right.
We're not hiding anything, Randy.
All right. Motion to adjourn by somebody?
So moved.
Please? Alderman Voda, second by Alderman Lawrence. Discussion or comments? All those in favor? Against? Motion passes. Meeting adjourned 8:04 p.m.